guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscription button and turn on post notifications so that you never miss a video. Make sure you pre-order now. This book is a perfect gift for the holidays, first of all, but also it gives you concrete early career, mid-career, whatever stage you are in your career advice. It really is a great book for millennials and Generation Z, or anyone who just wants to be a savage in their career. If you love my channel, you will love this book. So make sure you pre-order The Prepared Graduate so you can find your dream job, live the life you want, and step into your purpose while feeling properly guided through your career. Okay, so as you can tell by this video title, I am kicking off a new series. This is going to be episode 1. It's going to be an interview question series. I've been doing a lot of interview prep sessions lately, and I've been getting common questions on how to answer certain questions. So I thought, why not? Let's do a series. Also, we are celebrating TPG. Hashtag TPG, that's what we're celebrating. And in celebrating that, I wanted to do a lot more series for you. A lot more series for you guys, and this is going to be the first one. The interview question we're going to be focusing on today is how to answer the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So what I'm going to do for the structure of this video, as well as the rest of the videos in this series, is I'm going to obviously do an intro, and then I'm going to give 2 ways to answer the questions, and then we're going to dive a little bit deeper into why it's a good way to answer the question, and then we're going to close the video with things you should not ever do in terms of answering the question in the episode. So again, episode 1 today, the question is going to be, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So let's take a hypothetical situation. Let's say I am applying for a product manager job at a consulting firm, and I finally have an interview. I've done the screening, I've applied, I've done everything, and I'm now at stage 1 of the interview process. And during the interview, the interviewer asked me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? This is one way I would answer that question. Where do I see myself in 5 years? I see myself growing within the organization. What I love about this product manager role within ABC Consulting is that there's a clear growth track that I'm highly interested in. There's a lot to learn in this industry, and I feel working as a PM at ABC Consulting will allow for me to cement my skills. ABC Consulting offers their employees so many resources, and I feel like it's invaluable to work for an organization that offers so much support. So in 5 years, I would hope to still be in a role at ABC that equates to the knowledge and experience I've acquired. That's one way I would answer that question. And we're going to get into why it's a good way to answer that question and the points that I hit on in that question. Now, a lot of people ask me, and my computer's right in front of me, so I'm making sure we're staying on track, because you know your girl likes to just pop into different tangents. But a lot of people ask me, because I've worked for different companies, you know, about 6, 7, 8, 9 different companies, they ask me if during interviews, when they ask me the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years, if they're asking from a place of, because I'm a job hopper. And I have gotten that question. People say, they'll open the question and say, well, you know, based on your resume, it looks like you move around a lot. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And the reason they're asking me that is because they don't think I'm gonna stay for 5 years. They don't think I'm gonna stay for 1 year. They don't even know if I'm gonna stay for 6 months. Just because my resume, the trends in my resume look like I'm hopping around all over the place. So as a job hopper or an early career professional navigating what you like and what you don't like, you can answer the question that way as well. You can say, graduating from college, you know, it takes time for you to figure out what exactly you want to do. It's okay to be honest in the right way. So this is how I would answer the question as a job hopper. That is a really good question. And contrary to my resume, I am seeking the opportunity to grow within an organization long term. I think continuity is invaluable. I've done thorough research on this organization and feel the culture aligns with the kind of place I want to work. Different circumstances really resulted in me leaving my previous places of employment earlier than I expected. That being said, in 5 years, I would enjoy working within this organization in whichever role aligns with the experience that I have gained over those 5 years. One thing I've learned in my career is the importance of thorough research in organizations and interviewing a company as they interview me as well. I think before I didn't ask the right questions and found myself in organizations that I didn't fit into well. It was a lesson learned, and I can assure I am confident when I say I would want to be at this organization over the next few years of my career. Boom. Tangam. Look, you see the way we answered those questions? They were so eloquent, so it answered the question, and we're gonna talk about the first one. So in the first answer, let's talk about why that was a good way to answer. I said, I see myself growing within the organization. Right off the bat, I'm saying, look, I do want to grow in the organization. I've done my research. I see that a lot of people who start in this role have the opportunity to grow, and I see that myself following in the same track. I also don't say anything about, yeah, right now I'm an associate product manager, a program manager. In the next 5 years, I expect to see myself as a senior director product manager or a director product manager. I don't say any of that. All I say is, wherever my experience and my knowledge that I've acquired working for such a supportive, collaborative company that invests in you, whatever I learn in this awesome organization, if it aligns with the next job title, it aligns with the next job title. I'm not saying any sort of job title. I'm not saying I want to be a manager in 2-3 years. I'm not saying anything. I'm saying I just want my experience and my knowledge to align with my job title. And you know, I think it's better to answer that than giving exactly what roles you want, because sometimes it can come off like a little bit too much. And especially, you don't know who the person you're talking to. You don't know if you're interviewing for an associate role and they're a manager, and the next role after associate is manager. So you could kind of rub someone the wrong way when you start calling out titles, especially if it could impact their career development possibilities, because there's only a certain number of roles. So you want to be ambiguous but still answer the question. Number one was said very eloquently. It was straight to the point, and that's pretty much it. I think it's always nice to tie back the research that you've done within the organization, talking about how it aligns with you culturally, and it's hard to find a company that you align with culturally. Talking about how there's growth opportunities. It just shows also that you've done your research and that you're not just showing up at the interview. And then it also cements the fact that you do have career goals and you are invested in your own professional development without being like annoyingly eager to a point where it can come off a little bit like just crass. So that is one way you can answer that question. Now going into two, the job hopper question, it can be so difficult to address this because, and that's why it's annoying when people say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because as an early career professional or even a mid-career, late career, people change careers all the time and we're allowed to change our minds. So with the job hopper question, it's just gonna be really important for you to address the issues that they have in a way that without making you seem like you are just hopping all over the place. The way I answered the question, and if you need to hear it back again, go ahead and rewind this video and come back to this section of the video, but the way I answer the question is like, look, I've learned. And that's another thing that's great is I'm saying, I've learned a lesson. I wasn't asking the right questions when I was interviewing. I wasn't asking the right questions. I wasn't interviewing the company while they were interviewing me. And it just ended up not being the right fit, which is why I've ended up moving around to different organizations. Even if you left a company because of money, you left because you didn't like your boss, you don't say any of those things. You give something very generic. If you say, oh, it was my boss and my coworkers, you're gonna seem like a difficult person to work with. So you wanna keep it as generic as possible. And that's why I always say speaking to culture is always the best thing, and all that stuff falls into culture anyway. If a company's underpaying you, that's probably a part of their culture. If a boss is micromanaging you, probably a part of their culture. If your coworkers are talking about you poorly, it's probably about the culture. So just leave any issues in terms of they don't feel like you're gonna be there for 5 years. Just speak to the fact that they weren't the right culture fit, but you've done your research this time. You've learned in your career that it's important to ask the right questions. It's important to do research so that you also feel comfortable integrating yourself into an organization. And in that job hopper question, I still speak to the fact that I do wanna be in a company for longer than 6 months, a year, 5 years. I do wanna grow within an organization. Contrary to what my resume says, it's just unforeseen circumstances that resulted in me departing from those places earlier, but I do want to find the right company where I can grow and evolve as a professional, because continuity of career growth is so important. And I think that answering a question that way will kind of deviate away from the fact that, oh, this isn't someone who doesn't want to be somewhere and is just trying to get ahead. It's someone who's trying to find the right place, and that's okay. So some of the things you don't want to say, you don't want to be crass and tell someone, oh, I want your job. You'll be surprised how many people actually say that. But if they say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Don't be like, oh, well, I want your job. First of all, that's rude. Not the right way to answer it. Don't say you don't know, because it just makes it seem like, why are you even here? Like, okay, you don't know, and I don't know why I'm interviewing you. It just feels like you've come unprepared, and it's just kind of unprofessional when you say you don't know the answer to a question. And it's okay if you need to take a moment and be like, that's a really good question. So you can process your thoughts for about 30 to 60 seconds and then say it. But where do you see yourself in 5 years is such a common question. You honestly should come prepared to answer that question. There are many different ways that interviewers can ask those questions, but the where do you see yourself in 5 years is very, very common. So come prepared to answer that question and do not say, I don't know. The last thing, it kind of feels like a no-brainer, but don't say that you don't see yourself being at the company for 5 years. Just don't. Even if you know, and for me, I've always known, I have never thought I'd be at there was one company, but for the most part, there aren't many companies where I would see like I'm gonna be there for 5 years. Like, it's just not my personality, and I know that. But I never would go into an interview and be like, oh, you know, I'm probably only gonna stay here for 2-3 years and then dip after I get the experience I need, I'm out. You don't actually wanna say too much about what your career plans are, because one, your career plans could change and you could just be thinking that in the moment because of where you are in your career, but everybody's circumstances change. COVID-19 taught us that. So you don't know. I always like to speak loosely in terms of what my career goals are. I see myself wherever I'm meant to be in 5 years. I am an ambitious person. I am, you know, passionate about what I do. I really do want to evolve and become a better professional in this industry. And I would like to see myself in 5 years wherever the experience I've acquired has taken me. Best way to answer it. Best way. It's not like you're cementing what it has to be. And it also tells employers that you have an open mind. Now, I want to close this video, pre-close, and say why employers ask this question. They ask to gauge your ambition, that's one. They ask to gauge your interest, to gauge your career development plans, to gauge your tenure with the organization, whether you'll be there for 6 months or whether you'll be there for 5 years. And believe me, based on how you answer that question, they will know. I've heard people say, yeah, I was speaking to this person in an interview and they're definitely gonna be someone who's just trying to climb the ladder and they're gonna leave within 4 to 6 months. They don't wanna hire people like that because they spend a lot of money, a lot of companies spend money investing in you, training, those months of training that you do, that you learn all stuff on the job, that costs them money. So if you just get the training, you get the information you need and you dip, that is not beneficial to them, which is why they would not call you for another job interview. So that concludes episode 1 of the interview question series. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Make sure you leave comments down below. And if you guys want to schedule an interview prep session, go ahead and visit careersavage.com and book your interview prep session. They're about an hour long, and we actually do a mock interview where I ask you questions and I critique you on why you shouldn't answer questions a certain way. A lot of people who, you know, purchase the service are very happy with it. So you'll probably be happy too. Again, don't forget to pre-order the Prepared Graduate and subscribe to my channel. All right, thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye.